Do you know the difference between power and strength? Most people don't make the distinguishment between the two, as often the words get used interchangeably. Often we think about power or strength, we conjure up images in our mind of the muscular powerlifter completing a 400-pound bench press, or the 220-pound Olympic wrestler slamming his opponent with a two-leg takedown. Yet there is a difference between power and strength, and any seasoned competitive athlete may at one point or another recognize a fellow competitor that seems a lot stronger than they look. In some cases, defying expectations of the amount of strength that can be generated in a person who is in such a small stature. Chances are, they may not be strong at all, and might in fact just be powerful. The distinction between power and strength can be more closely revealed in the definition of power according to Webster Dictionary. Power, in the definition in relation to physics, is A. Work done or energy transferred per unit of time, symbol P, and B. The time rate of doing work. The important factor in looking at the definition of power is a time factor is stressed. Therefore, without consideration of the time it takes energy to work, there could be no definition of power. In Webster's dictionary, there is a reference to the rate of doing work, or energy transferred. The rate of doing work, or energy transferred, in the context of athletics, can be thought of as the amount of strength applied, which partially relates to the intensity of muscular contractions. So the definition of power in athletics can be summarized as follows. Amount of power equals strength over time. Adjusting either of these two variables would equal more power. Let me give you two examples. Person A can produce 12 units of strength in 3 seconds. 12 divided by 3 is 4 units of power in 1 second. In person B, 30 units of strength applied in 10 seconds. 30 divided by 10 is 3 units of power in 1 second. Even though person B has a greater maximum strength of 30 units over strength compared to person A is capable of reaching their maximum strength quicker and can produce more strength per each second. And in most cases in athletics, the athlete who can reach his maximum strength quicker is a more effective athlete. Since most athletic sports are time-based and require strength to be applied quickly, ultimately defining what the explosive athlete is all about. Strength has more practical application when there is not a sensitivity to the time frame when strength can be applied. A Brazilian jiu-jitsu martial artist applying a chokehold once in proper position and slowly increasing the tension would be utilizing more strength and power, since they have time to increase the intensity of the muscular contractions, and the movement is already locked into place. In that case, the time frame to apply the strength is not as important. Whereas the boxer launching a punch to his opponent's face is using more power than strength, since the acceleration, which is the time frame, in which the punch is being delivered contributes to its overall force. As the definition of force equals mass times acceleration, power is crucial when strength is needed to be applied quickly. It's not always possible to visibly see which athlete is more powerful just by looking at their physique. As a 155-pound athlete, despite having a lower amount of muscle mass, can in fact be more powerful than the 180-pound athlete. Quite simply, because a 155-pound athlete can accelerate the intensity of their muscular contractions quicker and result more powerfully. But in most athletics, a quick response is required, so often power versus strength is utilized. Yet in modern society, we tend to lean towards the development of strength, since a nice side effect of development of strength is bigger muscles, which provides an aesthetically pleasing physique and makes you look great on the beach. However, true athletic power is beyond appearances. Today, since the distinction isn't often made, most athletes spend most of their time doing strength training, with the most common form of strength training today being lifting weights, either through bodybuilding or powerlifting exercise. But for those who understand the distinction, power is trained by explosive resistance exercise, using tools such as plyometrics, medicine balls, kettlebells, sledgehammers, tire training, and Olympic weightlifting like clean and jerk and snatch. While these methods can help to develop power, often they have a high risk of injury since the movements can be jerky and stress the joint in an unnatural way. As well, in some cases, they don't define the stimulus in an exact scientific manner, so progress can sometimes be slow and hard to measure, making it harder to understand what to do next when one has plateaued, which eventually happens with all training programs and requires a specific measure to adjust. So how do you develop power and strength differently from traditional methods? NIP stands for Neural Isometric Power, and it is a new way to train power and strength. Arguably, NIP allows you to develop power and strength more effectively by saving you time, as little as 20 to 30 minutes per week, and allows you to reach your specific potential by clearly outlining the requirements to develop power and strength in a logical and scientific methodology. NIP is based on 3 specific principles. These 3 principles are outlined as follows. 1. To stimulate change, overload is required. The body's regular state is to maintain a natural balance, and it is through the overload principle that our physiological system is incented to change, and it acts as a stimulus and catalyst for the body to adjust its natural status. As overload is a form of stress on the body, which the body then allocates resources as a defensive mechanism, similar to how the sun darkens skin pigmentation from intense sunlight. The body builds bigger muscles in response to the intense demands of a weight training program. Yet, a light or casual weight training program wouldn't do much to create a muscular physique, since it doesn't overload this physiological system enough, similar to how tanning in the early spring when the sun isn't intense enough will not create a suntan. The key is the body must be overloaded first to be incented to change. 2. The overload stimulus must be specific. In utilization of the overload principle, there are a variety of ways to stress the body, as one can overload one's endurance, flexibility, or strength, and taxing one component will not often yield appreciable results in another area. Therefore, while stretching might help you build more flexible muscles, it will do little to help build muscle mass, as that would be a different way to overload the muscles. The overload system must be trained with as much specificness as possible for the required outcome. 3. Changes occur during rest. Adequate rest is imperative for change. Significant adaptation to stress often does not occur while the stress is being applied. It is typically after a break from the stress that changes occur. Therefore, muscles don't immediately get larger when working out, aside from what weightlifters call the pump or the burn, which is an artificial expansion of the muscles based on an accumulation of blood flow. In fact, due to fatigue, they actually weaken during working out, and the resulting stress actually leaves them in a damaged, overloaded state, which is why we feel tired after working out. That which has been used needs to be replaced. It is during rest that the body then allocates the resource to become stronger or more powerful than before. Rest means not working out, sleeping or relaxing, or doing other meaningful things like reading a book. Even with appropriate stimulus, if adequate rest is not given, adaptations will not properly occur, which often leads us to overtraining. Dun 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 dun. With the understanding of these 3 principles, the foundations for the NIP program can be properly applied, moving from a generalized program which may risk injury to a more specific scientific plan where you know what to do when you plateau. How the NIP program works is another topic in itself. Check out our site with Power Athlete Info if you'd like to learn more. See you there.